This is 2026, and there are core problems within the education and the training pipeline globally, not just in Nigeria, Africa, or as it were. But I am much more particularly concerned about our region. Reason being that we are, would I say, behind in a lot of things, and I would explain what I mean. Right now, we have the number one issue we have right now is called the cognitive division, and it's, how will I put it? Before I explain what it is, so imagine that we are in 2026. A lot of our schools have not yet adopted digital education, which means we are not yet using tools to power our education. Then a lot of our schools have not also adopted digital literacies, which means over 60%, according to data of the Nigerian youths, still cannot use computer, which means they can't use basic applications on your computer systems, laptop, desktop, whatever it is, right? And that's an issue. You have that gap there. Take for example, accounting students studying accounting in universities. These guys would just learn frameworks and likes and conventions, principles, master and stuff, but they would rarely ever enter an accounting lab to practice to use any ERP or an accounting software or whatever software they might use. Now that was the major issue that was existing. I'm using was, it's still existing, right? But because of the new gap, that's why I'm categorizing it as was. But okay, let me just focus and say that is one of the major issue we have. Then now we have AI. Now AI has skyrocketed and taken education in such a way and manner that we cannot envisage. And I will tell you why I say that. We already have that gap. We have the curriculum gap, which is an issue. Some of our curriculums lack global balance in terms of, for example, if I'm developing a curriculum for either our academy or I'm consulted to develop curriculums for any training body, I use what I called the Harvard framework, right? So I benchmark my curriculums after I've developed it against Harvard curriculum. Then I now benchmark it against top Ivy League um, bodies or schools, right? That's how I develop my curriculum. There are a lot of process and frameworks attached to it, but I'm just saying the overall part. Reason is I always try to make sure that whatever curriculum I develop tries to meet that standard. Now, if you go back to our system, I'm not saying the standard used by this school should be the only revered standard. They have gaps, right? That is where gap analysis comes into. So I do that in my curriculum and try to fill in the gap too, right? So that's a major issue. So we have gap issue, we have tooling issue, we have digital literacy issue. Now there is AI, right? And this AI of a thing is not just that the fact that it is existing, is the fact that it is already taking people out of their jobs. Just last week or last upper week, a company fired 40% of its entire staff, not because they are lacking revenue or they are slowing down in growth. They are actually growing and making more money, but AI is doing a lot of things that they feel like, okay, we need to let humans go so that we can just, on the long run, we are going to eventually do this instead of do it gradually according to the CEO and lose investors trust or buying or confidence. Let's just do it once and explain to investors. And then you have the average African child in school who, one, does not even know that the curriculum they are studying is probably outdated. Two, cannot even effectively use Microsoft Suite or Google Workspace or anything on the laptop other than watch movie if they know how to open VLC, right? Then you have tooling issues. So you have graduates who cannot even effectively use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint to put one or two things together. You have an accounting student who does not even know that Excel is used for accounting, right? Who cannot visualize on Excel, right? All of those kind of stuffs. Uh, let's not even talk about using QuickBooks, Sage, or whatever it is, right? So we have that. Therefore, then now we have AI. Now the problem with the jump in gap between the root problem and AI is that right now my generation in the African ecosystem is adopting AI by themselves, not school teaching them, right? By themselves, forgetting that the best manner you can use AI is first understanding the basics of what drives AI. For example, the average user in Africa does not understand NLP, NLG, NLU, does not understand what LLMs are, what deep learning is, what algorithms are, and the likes, right? And they don't know that. Now they don't understand what safety is, what's what's it called now? AI reverse engineering is, like AI contextual phishing and the likes, right? So a lot of cyber risk attached with using AI. So a lot of these young folks are now using AI to do the same thing that would now end up harming them. What do I mean? The average digital marketer right now uses ChatGPT a lot. Now, if you remove ChatGPT from this young person's life and ask him to sit down and use probably a framework to develop a GTM for you to execute a particular strategy, they might not be able to do that. Now, I'm just talking about surface level, that's marketing. Now, let's take this into accounting, where you can just come out, not even understand Excel, building dashboard on Excel, using Sage or QuickBooks or whatever accounting software. There are accounting AI you could just load up sheets to, and it will visualize your dashboard. I can even train you how to do that with Google Sheets. Google Sheet now has those capabilities, right? I was running some data on some cybersecurity data, I think 3 weeks ago with somebody on a live call, right? So that gap is there. Now, my point is this: when you don't master this tool and you jump into using just AI to like fill in the gap, eventually you leave gap for penetration, right? In terms of cybersecurity risk, in terms of business and operational risk, because you are going to have a lot of oversight, because there's what we call human in the loop or human in the gap or whatever you want to put, right? There is that factor of your expertise combined with context when you are using AI that gives you your desired result. Now, back to this problem I want to speak on, which is the cognitive division and the AI paradox, or the AI equity paradox right now. So I'll give you a quick data I have on my screen here. The digital divide has evolved. It is no longer just about who has a laptop. It is about who has the critical thinking skills to lead AI versus who will be displaced by it. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not going to edit this video. I'm just going to upload it as it is, because I just came up as a thought. I'm currently working right now, and I'm building a solution for a client, and I just came across a data, right, and I decided to just make this video. Now, this is the issue. By the end of 2026, which is by the end of this year, an estimate of 30% of young people globally will lack the minimum digital skills to survive in an AI-driven economy. That's globally, assuming we were all at the same level, playing on the same level globally. If we are being frank or be honest with ourselves, we know we are not playing on the same level, either in Nigeria or in Africa. So let's benchmark that. This data is being benchmarked against the literacy of the European Union, the UK region, and the US or the American region, Canada, the likes. If we bring this down to Africa, we most likely will have a double metric of this figure. Right? Now, there is a solution in my head, but it is capital intensive, so I can't build it right now. But here's my question. The educational folks, I don't know what you guys are called, right? Whether it's commissioners, ministers, stakeholders, whatever you guys are. My question to you, or if you're in the education space, I'm also in the education space, but not like education like you guys. I just build digital educational solutions and try to bridge the gap between practical tech skills, relevant soft skills, and global expertise by bringing mentors across the globe to like mentor our students. That's what I do, right? So I don't have that authority to influence these policies. Now, for those of you who have that authority or that ability, my question is, what is Nigeria? What is Africa? What are we doing about this issue? Because on the long run, the war that will be coming in, or the war we are entering into, is not just a war of military weapons and the likes, right? We're talking of precision fighting, where AI would be one. We're talking about state-sponsored cyber attacks, right? We already have a lot of use case on that. I published a white paper recently about state-sponsored cyber attacks. You can't sit the average Nigerian computer science down or the average African computer science down and start to discuss about all of these things, because in the very first place they don't even understand what cyber vulnerabilities are, even with the 4-year degree they spent in school. And that leaves the question of the potency of our educational system. Is it really still there, or do we need to go back to the drawing board and find a way to fill this gap before 2030? All right, it just came into my head and I decided to make the video. I don't think if I even made any sense or through the video, but I guess what I'm just trying to say is there is an issue. There are 5 global issues. This is just one of it, which is the cognitive division in this AI paradox, as it were. There is another issue, which is the mental health and capacity gap issue in the education system. Then there is chronic learning poverty, which of course has displaced about 70% of learners. Then we have climate-induced educational displacements, and we have the teacher attribution or attrition. Sorry, the teacher attrition, which is like death of the teacher growth, all right, of the spiral of teacher growth, the death of its relevance, as it were. And that one, that last one I talked about, which is the death of the teacher's growth. I'm not talking about the death of individual teachers' growth. I mean the industry. It's a huge issue. One, salaries. It's not just in Africa. It's not just in Nigeria. It's a global issue, like I said. But I'm focusing on Nigeria and Africa because that is my first point of concern, right, before we go out globally. Again, I'm not in the traditional educational space. I just sit in my small garage here, build data solutions, and try to equip thousands of anybody that cares to get equipped, right? I said this video should not be up to 20 minutes, but eventually it's going to be up to 20 minutes. Okay, so let's go. Like I said, I'm not editing this video. Watch it unfiltered. I will read a report for you. According to UNESCO, a global need for 44 million additional teachers by 2030 is a rising need, as it were. 44 million teachers are needed additionally by 2030. Let me not shock you. The issue here, now I focused on extracting the sub-Saharan Africa. I was planning on like making a detailed post on this, but it wouldn't express what I really want to express, hence why I'm making the video. The issue here is that in sub-Saharan Africa, the percentage of trained teachers has dropped significantly from 84% in 2000, that's about 26 years ago, to roughly 69%. So in the last 25 to 26 years, our output, our teacher training or our trained teacher output has dropped from 84% to 69%. 84 minus 69, 15. I want to see, let me see if we can't even get the details of how many teachers we have in Africa. I would have loved to see the cumulative annual decline rates, if there is any term like that. Just like we have cumulative annual growth rates. Don't mind me. I like to I like to just pop up metrics in my head. I'm a product manager, so I shape products apart from building and stuff. And I also teach. I'm a teacher by calling, like God calling me. That's my ministry. I'm a teacher. So yeah. And I'm particularly concerned about this because it is not going to improve. It's going to get worsened. So I dug more, right? And I pulled up more data. Oh God. And here is why it is declining. So first, this crisis is into distinctional struggles, as it were. The first one is the sub-Saharan African and Southern Asia recruitment crisis, right? Now, I'm talking about the global data stuff now. These regions face, especially sub-Saharan Africa, face new post-problem because of rapid population growth. 63% of shortage in Africa is due to the need for entirely new classrooms and teachers that do not yet exist. Let me read this again. I am going somewhere. Because 63% of the shortage in Africa is due to the need for entirely new classrooms and teachers that do not yet exist. Let's Google out the Nigeria budget for education in 2025 and 2026. Okay, so total allocation in proposed budget. Total proposal or proposed budget is 3.52 trillion naira, maintaining the same nominal allocation as 2025. That's of this year, right? Now, this was the proposal. Let's now see how much each state received, as it were. So let's dive deeper. Deeper. This video is going to get longer than 20 minutes, I promise you. Okay. How much did Lagos, Oyo, Edo, Rivers, and Kano spend on education in 2025 according to available data? Sorry, I have a special tool I put in that can help me pull all of this data out. Okay, now we have some amazing data here. According to data I'm saying here, this is based on allocation. Lagos State was allocated 223.3 billion naira. Kano State was allocated 199.9 billion naira. Oyo State was allocated 145.4 billion naira. And Rivers State was allocated 75.6 billion naira. And Edo State 43.6 billion naira. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying is, I don't know if you guys saw the video that, I don't want to mention the brand name now, they did recently, and they were stating how much all of these states spent on their education. None of these states spent anything close to, allegedly, anything close to 30% of this money in their states on education. And yet we deduce that 63% of the shortage in Africa is due to the need for entirely new classrooms and teachers that do not yet exist. Like I said, I'm a teacher, but I'm just doing my own with digital tools. I'm fortunate enough to have the skills. I don't have the resources, but I have the skills. So that's like kind of complements some of the things I'm doing. Now, the average teacher in Nigeria earns, let's see the average teacher salary in Nigeria. So yeah, I'm pulling all of this data out. The average teacher's salary in Nigeria. I don't want to speak as the past data I knew. Okay, so the average teacher in Nigeria, depending on where you work, you earn between 30,000 to 40,000 naira in Nigeria. Let's convert 40,000 naira to dollar. So 40,000 divided by 1,330. That's $30 a month. And you want to produce the graduates that would compete on a global level. I do not say anything, no. I'm just showing us our problem. So now, one would wonder, I was speaking with a friend of mine, I think 3 days ago. We were speaking, and I told him that I don't have problem with schooling as concerned in Nigeria and Africa. I have problem with the schooling sector, or let's say schooling industry, or the education sector in the education industry. there is little to what I can do. Like I said, I'm not in the room to shape policies and stuff. But how do we look at this staggering data? Then we create curriculums that are almost matching the same things we have in the universities, and we charge outrageously for this. Why I'm bringing this up is I know an edtech company here in Africa that charges an outrageous amount in dollar, and their graduates, I've worked with one of their graduates. I've been opportunity to speak with a lot of their graduates. Do not match 30% of the money they paid. But PRs push these guys, and I begin to wonder what's the difference between the traditional educational school and now the traditional edtech sector in Africa. Thank God for companies like ULesson Group, right? Headed by someone I respect very much. Thank you, sir, for you doing the edutech sector and the education sector, Sim Shagaya. Thank God for Miva University and likes. But again, there is a huge problem. New classrooms are needed. Teachers do not exist. Now, how do you expect teachers to come into this space or to generate interest in this space when average salary is $30 per month? And you would also see that there is also the part of stress for the teachers. Right now, according to statistics in sub-Saharan Africa, I remember this on the top of my head, right? Or offhand, whichever English is correct. The average teacher is matched with 52 students. So we have like 52 students ratio 1, like to one teacher. And these 52 students, in that same issue, according to the report I was reading or data I was gathering, these teachers would man 52 students, their assignments, their classwork, administrative responsibilities in schools, and sometimes it is not just 52 students from one class, it is 52 students from multiple classes. 52, 52, 52, right? These same teachers will be running errands for their employers. Then these same teachers have to resume 6, close like 5 or 6 again. Now, this is the funniest thing. The most disrespected profession, or one of the most disrespected profession in Africa. Guess which profession? Yes, teachers. I am making this video to let you know why in 10 years time you will look at your child and say, I wasted money. No, you didn't waste money. It is you plus the school you are sending your children to plus the government, the three of you together, that are the wastage in this thing. I am really angry. There's nothing I can do about it. I used to say I will stop complaining, but looking at the data staring me at my face, I cannot help but probably henceforth I'll start making videos to complain now. I am doing my own part, right? I run Inegben Academy. We provide scholarships for people who want to get into the not just tech space, tech management in terms of product management, marketing. We are rolling out global marketing course that benchmarks against, not benchmark, our curriculum that we are rolling out beats every digital marketing programs that exist globally, no caps, right? Our GRC program currently is one of the fastest, most adopted compliance programs globally. So I am not just ranting, I am playing my part, but I am saying we can do more if really we want to solve this problem. Because see, the unit of growth is education. No, let me just tell you, there is no country that would rise higher than the level of the minds of the people. Hope you guys know that, and that is why I'm particularly concerned about this. I'm not making this video because I am well and vast. And again, another problem we have about education is that we don't even know what education is. So education, from the root word educar, right, means to draw or to extract from. It's a training phase. It's not just about being in the four walls of the classroom, right? But the only thing we understand it to be in Africa is to be in the four walls of the classroom. And that is another limitation we have. Why am I saying this? If this staggering data, 63% of the shortage in Africa is due to need for entirely new classrooms, it means that we can actually start to solve this part backwards. So the next question is, how do we solve this without first having to wait for governments or individuals with big money to build classrooms? Right. Take for example, what currently we have tons of people in our academy across 30 countries taking cybersecurity program, right? None of these people has ever been into any classroom. That we don't have any physical. I don't even have a physical space. I don't even have an apartment of my own. This is a garage. Forget the lights and all of this balance. This is a garage, right? Now from this garage, we've been able to reach 100 countries, but we are currently training about students from about 30 countries, right? Now imagine the average learned person. I did not say the average certified person. There's a difference between learned and certified. Called different. You can be certified and very stupid. I have seen a lot of them. The average learned person who is very skilled, qualified, relevant experience come together with another average learned person and sit and say, okay, let's put our own together. You don't need to be there. You don't need to be as skilled as I am, right? There's Google Workspace and there's Google Classroom and there's Google Meet and there's Google Classroom. What can you do to help us reduce these things? Now, there's the aspect of digital tools and shortage. Fine. But for the ones that have mobile phones or laptops, but cannot afford to pay outrageous amount to get quality educations, what can you do for them? Host free mentorships, right? And in case you're also looking for platforms to mentor on, if you have relevant experience, your mind is well educated, right? You are learned, you have the experience, you can show what you have done. We can take you in to join our mentor pool, right? But I'm saying collectively as a unit, as a people, let's start effecting a change from us. This government, I am not, let me not say what is in my mind, but just know that even if you send your child to a private school, you don't know who your child will marry you. And there is a direct correlation between the offspring of your child and the partner they marry. Their intellectual quotient, they call them. Their IQ and the EQ, which is intellectual intelligence, and emotional intelligence. There's a direct correlation between those two, the IQ and the EQ of your child and the person they marry directly, that would shape the offspring. And if the one your child will marry, if their EQ and their IQ is very low, but they have a more dominant trait, just know that you have successfully spent your money to raise a child that will give your generation a disgrace. Why? Because you did not play your part. So in as much as we want to shout on the government head, let's also look inward. What are we doing ourselves? Another problem is we are trying to fill this gap. Our government is trying to do a quick fix by providing easier part 2 certifications. This is not in Africa now. This is in Africans still aren't doing this, right? I think countries like Angola, Benin Republic, South Sudan, right? According to statistics, few, or for the lack of better words, less than 50% of teachers in these countries I just mentioned and some other countries meet basic training standards. I've left Nigeria now. I've entered Benin, Angola, and South Sudan. Less than 50% teachers meet basic certification needed to teach. Do with the information what you may. See, maybe the reason why I'm annoyed, Sha, is because, okay, let me just say why I'm annoyed. One, me like this, I don't have a degree. I forget my English. I'm a typical village boy. I was born and raised in a village. God helping my life. I was brought to Lagos by people, my parents, or my foster parents who love my mother, brought me to Lagos in 2006. I feel primary one, right? Or primary one, because I don't understand English. I'm just trying to give you my background so you don't think I am privileged. I'm not privileged. Or which color of spoon they used to burn another time. Saying as silver, be golden spoon, one of the above. I did not even have spoon. I came to the earth with my hands. Right? We chop sand, like practically it's real sand. Yes, I ate real sand. So you understand my background. Maybe that's the reason why I'm paying, because even with when people were ready to like support, as that when I was still serious before I became unserious in my life, I could actually I just saw the need not to be serious because if I had been serious, oh god, I wouldn't have been able to shape what I am shaping today. Now, not with those people. I will give a practical example. My lecturer in final year opened his mouth and said because he failed 7 times, he does not see a reason why his students shouldn't be failing. Just so you know the kind of problem I am trying to bring out. 2, you are in a system where, because salary is minimum, teachers cannot put in the extra effort, right? And they don't really care about the future of your children, because if you look at it, both you and the school do not care about the future of that children. And all of these things is annoying. I'm not a parent, I'm not married, right? I do not even have anything to lose if I leave the old education system as its way, or as it is currently now. But if we are going to build a better future, a better Nigeria, a better Africa as a collective, education is still the very, very basics. I'll give you a practical example. Jesus, wanting to save us, first thing he had was compassion. When he had compassion, scripture can from Matthew to, I think I'm currently John, which I just started reading Bible, so just gave my life to Christ not too long ago. From Matthew to John, where I've been now, I've been studying the Bible every day. He had compassion first. Then from compassion moves him, then he teaches. So that brings them to teach them, to first educate their mind, right? Because he have to renew their mind. When he has taught them, he can now give them access to the kingdom. What I'm trying to say is that change, that development we are all clamoring for, we will not see it, whether with AI or with no AI, if first the minds of our people are not properly educated. And there is no way on earth, regardless of the pastor that prophesied, okay, I just give my life to Christ. Before they will see, you don't give your life to Christ now, you don't run your mouth. But I know, because I know, ignorance can never be the propeller to a brighter future. There is no way with an uneducated mind, I'm not saying it's cold mind, with an uneducated mind that would rise. Look at how to just, well, let me continue. So we now have let me never talk about this problem. I'll keep it from that video. So yes, what are the solutions to this? There are a lot of solutions, right? A lot of solutions. The first solution is that you are going to watch this video, work with somebody to bring your expertise, your knowledge, your experience together, and just teach people on a virtual platform. Google Meet, Google Classroom, Zoom, WhatsApp. WhatsApp now gives you access. Telegram. Play your part, your little parts. Train 100 people. Let's do the math. In Nigeria, let's just say we are approximately 200 million in Nigeria. And let's say only 10 million of us are really, really educated. Right? Or only 10 million of you. I'm also looking for education like this. Right? We have 10 million of you. 10 million divided by 200 million. That's 0.05 of our population. You can argue this for all you want. Right? So this is 0.005 of our population. It simply means that times, I'm coming up, 0.005 times 100. That's 0.5, right? So 0.5 times 200. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's 100 million divided by another divided by 10 million. I know what I want to achieve in my head though. Yeah, that's 10. Good. So it means, yes, I've gotten it. If out of the 10 million of us, if one of us can train 20 people, right, in whatever we do, it simply means that in 5 years' time, we should have a higher literacy rate. Otom? Yes, it's as simple as that. I can give you a practical example. By the grace of God, myself and my team, if we trace it back to 2022 when we started DMZ camp from 2022 to 2023, we trained 1,119 people across 19 African countries. So, and we're just how many? Myself, Emmanuel, Paul. We're just three. Three of us trained. Okay, I think I can't remember now. Let's just say roughly 5 to 10 marks. We're able to train 1,119 people. Right now, we're about 3 again. Myself, Emmanuel, Tombra. And in the space of 1 year, we've been able to train hundreds of people. Currently training about 1,000 people for just one program alone. So imagine all of us come together and we start to like bridge this access, right? For those who do not have resource, for those who do not have like phones and stuff, if those of you who have money can partner with those who can create this kind of platforms and support them and sponsor the works, we can educate these people without waiting for the government. Because if we are really being sincere with ourselves, there is no way this government has a plan to do this. And I will tell you why. The why is, it is not me who will kill. I will not say it here. You want to hear it? You will hear it in the next life. Peace.